Hey everybody, my name is Jess Barker. I help multifaceted creative people embrace their many big ideas, find direction, and take aligned action to build the fulfilling and purpose-driven creative lives of their dreams. So super happy you're here. And today I wanted to talk about 11 questions to ask your creative self. If you keep up with a journal, or if you do morning pages inspired by Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, where she has, or she recommends sitting down every morning and writing 3 long form pages by hand, just to kind of get the junk of your brain out onto the page and help kind of clear the path for your creative work. So if you do either of these things, I came up with 11 questions that I think can really be great prompts just to help you think through kind of where you're at in your creative life and to reflect on your multifaceted creativity and kind of just get to know yourself a little bit better. So I recommend grabbing either your morning pages notebook, your journal, or honestly, if you're anything like me, you have at least a small pile of beautiful notebooks sitting there that you haven't used yet, or maybe you've only used the first 2 pages of. So grab that beautiful notebook, grab a pen, and maybe a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and sit down and, pick and choose from these, see if anything stands out to you. I think these are really great reflective prompts, especially at a time like this, the start of the new year. So I want to share these with you and hope they can help. I consider this one notebook I have as my me manual, as I like to call it. So being a creative person and just a human in general is kind of hard. And so it's really comforting to have a notebook where I've documented things like this. Anytime I'm reading a self-help book and they've got exercises in there and I write the answers down, I always put it in my me manual. And then I can go back later and reflect on what I wrote or look for patterns. It's nice to just have a place to document it. And then when it's all in one place, you can hide it in a little drawer and hope that it's for your eyes only. So although my creative circumstances will evolve and the challenges I face change from one year to the next, it's kind of encouraging, when you flip through and you see, hey, I'm actually still the same person. And I've got the same values and the same dreams. It all looks a little bit different, but it's nice to have a resource where you've documented some of that work that you've been doing. So grab your notebook, grab your me manual, and let's get on with the questions. Question number 1, what parts of your identity are important to your creative style? I know, if you read interviews or you hear from other artists and creatives and writers, a lot of people talk about their nationality being really critical to the work that they do, or something that happened in their life that sticks out as an identity marker that makes its way into their work and their style. So reflect on that. What parts of your identity weave their way into your creative style in a big way? Question number 2, how would you describe your signature style elements, like your go-to colors, textures, subject matter, and creative processes? So thinking about how those style elements show up in your work. For me, as a very multi-passionate creative, I work across so many different mediums and formats, and everything from like interior design at home to collage art to writing to sewing and other textile arts and crafts. And it's easy to think, wow, there's like nothing that relates this project to that project to this other project. But when you actually take a look, you might notice that there's some commonalities. I know for me, it's color palette is huge. I really like to use a consistent color palette across different formats. And I think once you kind of start tapping into those signature style elements, you'll not only be able to see some connections you might not have spotted, but you'll also start to understand, like, okay, where does this come from? Why is this important to me? So for me, it might be like, why am I really interested in those colors? Why am I using them all the time? What does that mean about me and my creativity? Kind of jumping off of those last 2 questions, question number 3 is, what feelings or moods did these style elements evoke for you? So say you've noticed a shared color palette across the work that you do. What is it about that color palette that stands out? Is it feeling really energizing and electric? Is it that it's cooling, calm, relaxing? If there's textures or subject matters, is there like a kind of intellectual curiosities it's relating to, and that makes you feel amazing and energized and adventurous? Just kind of reflect on that a little bit. What feelings are coming through in those style elements for you? Then question number 4 is, why do you think it's important for you to bring those feelings and moods out into your work? So if it's feeling adventurous and electric and energized, why is it that you are urged to explore those feelings and experiences? Why is it that you want to communicate or express that? What does that mean for you? Or if it's that you use motifs and other style elements that create calm and quiet and kind of a poignancy in your work. What is the significance of that for you in your life right now? I think this is one of those, kind of the 4-step sequence here with these questions. It's kind of progressively getting deeper and deeper and deeper into your inner creative spirit and your why and your purpose and why your creativity matters to you and what it means to you. So I kind of like to break it down in a few little accessible chunks so that it's not just like, what's your purpose? But it's, taking little breadcrumbs and following those until maybe you reach a realization about your creative work. Question number 5 is kind of a fun one, kind of an easier one too. What creative outlets do you enjoy exploring and why? If you're multi-passionate, multifaceted like me, it might be so many different things and they might feel really unrelated. So I think it's nice to actually just sit down and write it out, list them all. There might be like 100, or maybe there's like 2 or 10. There's no wrong answer, but just kind of take a moment to celebrate all those different outlets. And then take a moment after that to think about, why is that interesting to you? I'm sure many people out there have tried creative projects and processes that I really didn't like. For me, it was like wheel thrown pottery. It was so hard. Didn't really click for me. It wouldn't be something I'd do again. But thinking about why I really enjoyed hand building ceramics, it relates to the collage and piecing things together. There was a process in there that kind of stuck out for me as something I enjoyed. So just reflecting on, why were the good things good? Maybe there's like a process there. Maybe there's a kind of another theme, like certain types of creativity being very sociable and help you connect with other people or get out into your community. Thinking about those aspects of it can be, really rewarding and interesting to do. The next question, number 6, is, what are some themes or threads running through your creative work across different media? So themes could be like subject matter, motifs, any kind of concepts or curiosities you're always following. Threads might be like a visual component, or maybe you really like to work big. Maybe you really like to work privately. Maybe there's some kind of elements to either like the outcome itself or the process that you're working through. So reflect on that for a minute. What are the common themes or threads running through your creative work across different media? Whether you're decorating your living room, writing a poem, painting a mural, like what's connecting those things? Question number 7 is, what inspires you and feeds your creative spirit? This is kind of a big open-ended question, but I think it's a nice one to really take a chance to reflect on. Obviously, we're all naturally drawn to different inspiration sources, different aesthetics, different experiences. And, you might know that some types of creative consumption really nourish you and make you feel inspired and energized, and some like stress you out. I remember I once went to a modern art exhibit in New York, and it was like such a challenging exhibition in terms of like the 3-dimensional sculptures and the noises and the movement. It was like so overwhelming for me. I usually try to be pretty open-minded, but I had to leave the gallery because I was just like getting anxious. So that's not the type of work that nourishes my creative spirit. But there's, for me, like period dramas. I love them. They just mean so much to me, and I can sit and watch one over and over and over again, and I'm like always getting inspired. So thinking about, listing those things out and then reflecting on, what does that mean? What does that say? And, maybe inviting more of that into your life. Number 8, it's kind of a big, scary one. How do you value your creativity beyond its monetary potential? There's so much pressure out there to monetize every creative hobby, every creative interest, every process, from like sketching it out to, packaging it up and selling it. There's just so much pressure to monetize all of our creativity. So this question is really intended to give you a chance to think about where you assign value to all of your creative processes every step of the way when there is not that monetary value or even the pressure to have that. The things that you create in your art journal that you never show to anybody. How do you value that? Things that, you've made as part of a hobby and everyone's like, you should sell this and you could make a ton of money on this. Like, what's your value assignment on that? It doesn't have to be monetary. There's so much like richness in just creating and sharing even without a kind of financial transaction. So think about that. It's a big question. Money and creativity are sticky when they run into each other, but by this point, question number 8, your gear should be turning a little bit. So give it a shot and see what you come out with. Question number 9, how do you embrace or resist labels on your creativity? Labels like artist or writer. There's so many people out there, and especially multifaceted creatives who work across tons of different mediums and might not stick with one thing for a long time. So many people resist those labels. People have a hard time saying I'm a writer or I'm an artist. And like literally I've seen artists who are exhibiting at a gallery and they're like, I'm not really an artist, right? Like this isn't real. Like what is going on? So, and I've been there too, where I haven't really embraced certain labels on my creativity and people are like, oh, you definitely are an artist. Or like, I never thought, oh, I want to be a writer, but I've done it professionally for years. So there's so much nuance and complexity to that. And I think it's easy to have a knee-jerk reaction to those labels when you hear them or you feel you cannot access them, that they don't belong to you, or somebody might put a label on you that you don't agree with, or you're not ready for, or anything like that. So take some time to really dig into that a little bit. What's that all about? What's going on behind the scenes? And you don't necessarily have to embrace every label that's out there. Then we would all be artists and we would all be writers. Like we're sending emails every day, right? But maybe this question could give you a chance to uncover some of those like insecurities and the nuances and maybe even some misconceptions. Like, what do you think it means to call yourself an artist or a writer or whatever it is? And kind of clear out some of the cobwebs there. Number 10, what are some of your biggest creative challenges right now? It's not to say that this question and your reflections will help you solve it, but even just documenting it, articulating it, claiming that as your challenge, and even a challenge that you eventually want to work through is very beneficial. Especially, again, at the start of the new year, it can be helpful to narrow in your focus a little bit so that, if you're feeling a bit lost and you're like, don't have direction, and you're like, everything's going wrong, maybe it's really just like 1 or 2 challenges that don't seem as scary when they're written down on paper. Maybe it's like, I'm just actually scared of sharing my fiction writing with community. Like, okay, that's a fear. You can face it. You don't have to right now, but maybe it's, just a fear rather than, oh, I have no idea what the plot is for my novel. Like those things can all get muddled up when you're not really clear about it. So just writing down what that challenge is and really being specific about it might help you free up some energy and focus in other areas of your work. Finally, you've made it to question number 11, which is, what's one small step you can take this week to make progress on your most important creative goal? This might be a small goal, like open up that document and refresh my brain as to where I was before the holidays and how I can get back into my writing project. Or it might be a big goal, like I want to launch my portfolio online and start selling my my crafts. Well, what's one teeny tiny small step you can take? Is it researching something? Is it organizing something? Is it trying another draft or another sketch or another version of something you've already started? Break it down into one tiny step and fit it in this week. Put it in your schedule, find the time to do it. And then, I guarantee you'll feel a little bit better knowing that you're taking one step toward your creative dreams. If any of these questions have helped you discover a light bulb moment or learn anything about your creative spirit, or clear up some of the cobwebs and help you get over a little bit of a hurdle in your creative journey, because we all have them, drop me a line in the comments. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, check out the link in the description and on the screen here for my Substack newsletter. It's called Multifaceted. It's all about what we've been talking about here: finding direction in your creative life, thriving as a multi-passionate person, and building the creative world and life and future of your dreams and that you deserve. So you'll hear from me 3 times a month with updates, and also probably some more videos to come. We'll see. But thanks for spending the time with me here today. Hope this helps, and get your pen and paper ready to get some prompting done. See you next time. Bye.